Something is happening to Aya Jackson. She's really, really stressed out. Like something is happening to her at this point in time because she cannot even think straight. She's ironing her clothes and her clothes are about to get burnt. She did not even realize that her clothes is about to get burnt until her mother screams at her, Aya, what are you doing? Aya is very, very shocked. She just came back to her senses. For real, what is Aya doing? Because tomorrow she's going to be getting married to the supposed love of her life, and the clothes she's ironing is her wedding dress, and she just burnt it. So what the hell is Aya doing?
Check it.
What's good, beautiful people? Today we are filming our first mukbang. So what is a mukbang? Food, and then we'll be telling stories. So I will be telling stories. So you guys know I am an author. I have some published books on Amazon. I've been writing for over a decade, and some of my books I want to be narrating some of these stories to you guys because like I yap for a living. Period. Aside being an author, I'm also a photographer and a filmmaker. You might be wondering, what is this channel all about? Well, we do anything related to photography, cinematography, and also to writing, telling stories any way we can. So today we are going to be having a mukbang, and I will be telling you interesting stories. They've not heard these stories before. They've not read my books before. So today I'll be narrating it to them. Are you guys excited?
Maybe when I hear the story.
What about you? No sense. Anyway, today I'll be narrating the stories to them. She has not read my story before. She's thinking my story doesn't have steez. I don't think I've ever narrated a story, like tell the story to people like this before. So I'm just going to, try storytelling with my mouth as well. Let's see how that goes. It's different from writing, but let's see how that goes. So with me, I have...
Hey, my name is Ayoluwa Tomide.
Your name is, you know him. So today, we are having a variety of food here. We have donuts. Milky, creamy, nice donuts. You guys can feel it, right? Then we have plantain. I don't know why our plantain is looking. I don't know. What is this? It's plantain. Our plantain is looking like a sorry. Can you guys see it? The plantain. And then we also have Nigerian jollof, the one that rivals Ghana jollof, the one that kicks Ghanaians jollof in the mud. Ta-da! The Nigerian jollof. We also have another interesting concoction here. Help me out. This is what they call the asun of the asun rice. The asun rice that is asuing. The asun rice that you will eat and your head will be, doing that food. So that's what we have on our table today. And we also have water. So you don't think we are going to choke on our food. It's down here. Ta-da! So guys, have you heard of something called the ripple effect? The ripple effect. Have you heard of the ripple effect? When you drop a stone inside the water, it forms ripples, and that ripple starts from the center, then it spreads out, right? There's also something called the butterfly effect. Have you guys heard of the butterfly effect? The butterfly effect is when, for example, something happens, one small thing, possibly you step on a butterfly, then somewhere in the future, somewhere else in some place in the future, it causes a natural disaster. For example, now it's just like what you do, affects other people as little as possible. You might not know, but it affects other people. For example, now if let me say, throw trash on the floor, and I feel like it's just one trash now, nothing can happen. But then a lot of other people too are throwing trash. It might be that one trash that will add to the number of trash that will block a drainage. Do you understand? So that's the butterfly effect. A small thing that causes something catastrophic or large in the future. So that's what a butterfly effect. Now there's another effect. I don't know if you guys have heard of this effect. It is called the Grey effect. Have you heard it? Have you heard of the Grey effect? What is the Grey effect?
What's the Grey effect?
What's the Grey effect? You guys give what? Do you have any idea what it might mean? Like the Grey effect? Okay, it does not exist. Moving on. Something is happening to Aya Jackson. She's really, really stressed out. Like something is happening to her at this point in time because she cannot even think straight. She's ironing her clothes and her clothes are about to get burnt. She did not even realize that her clothes is about to get burnt until her mother screams at her, Aya, what are you doing? Aya is very, very shocked. She just came back to her senses. For real, what is Aya doing? Because tomorrow, she's going to be getting married to the supposed love of her life, and the clothes she's ironing is her wedding dress, and she just burnt it. So what the hell is Aya doing? That night, Aya goes to bed, and she's wondering, why am I getting married tomorrow? I should be happy, right? I should be ecstatic. I should be feeling like on top of the world, like I planned that. I thought it would be cool. I didn't realize I look foolish. I planned it since last week, like when I'm saying the story, I'll just do. That's why I'm wearing hoodie in hot weather. Anyway, what is she thinking? She's going to be married to the love of her life, somebody she wants to spend the rest of her life with. You know when you're getting married, is anybody married here?
Yeah.
You're married the day before your wedding. How did you feel?
I felt happy. I felt on top of the world.
Felt on top of the world. The day before the wedding, Aya should feel ecstatic. She should feel on top of the world. She should feel like someone who is going to be with the love of her life forever. Aya is not feeling excited. She's feeling iffy. She's feeling awkward. She's feeling anxious and nervous. And she keeps telling herself, she feels suffocated mostly. She feels like she can't break out of this cycle, that something is sitting heavily on her chest. She feels so suffocated. But she can't tell it to anybody because her mother has called all the Ashwebi women in the town. Her mother is her parents are reputable people, you know. Their name is very, very, very known in the town. So she's thinking about her mother. She's thinking about her future husband. Like, okay, how would he feel? Do you know? She's thinking all sorts of things at these moments. But Aya is also thinking about some dark, twisted things. Some things are sitting heavily on her mind. Aside the suffocation she feels, Aya also feels like she wants to leave the world. She's feeling so sad. A lot of things have happened to lead up to this thing. And I'm talking about a butterfly effect, a ripple effect, an effect of things that, you know, that has compounded over the years that she has not addressed. And now that she's getting married, the following morning, she has ruined her wedding dress. Her mother is frantic on the call, making calls like, can I get a new wedding dress? Why is she even ironing her wedding dress in the first place? Should she be ironing her wedding dress? Her wedding dress should be ready, right? She should not be ironing it few hours to her wedding day. Aya sits in her room alone that night and she starts to weep. She starts to beg God. She told God, give me a sign. Let me know that this is the right way for me. If I'm going to do this, give me the strength to do this. But if I'm not going to do this, let me see a sign. Let thunder strike and scatter everything. She did not say that, but you know the drift. Pastor should disappear. But that was not what she said verbatim. But Aya is thinking really hard about this thing. And then there was no sign. People always wait for last minute miracle, but there was no miracle at all for Aya. She felt so suffocated, and she felt the only way out is to leave. Aya stood up from where she was resting, and she packed her bags. She stood outside her house, but she could not run. Where would she run to? Who does she know? All her life, she has lived a sheltered life. Her parents has always kept her in the house. You know, be straight, be nice, be friendly, be polite, sit up straight, eat with your head tied back. So all of these things have compounded. You know, there's a difference between discipline and when we have extreme parents. Extreme parents in the sense that there's a chokehold on their words. So Aya felt that way. She could not run away. The only thing Aya felt could make all of this go away was to exit the world. So Aya went to a bridge not very far from her house. I should not be smiling. This is a serious story. I should not be smiling. I'm not smiling because of, I'm touching things about suicide, inclining towards suicide, so I should not be smiling. But I'm smiling because I know the story and I know where it's leading up to, right? And there's a funny scenario that is playing in my head, which is why I'm smiling. So people don't think I'm smiling because, I'm saying Aya feels like she needs to exit the world. Aya walks up to the bridge and she looks down at the raging waters. Everything was dark. We are talking about 3 midnight. Everybody is asleep. The love of her life is asleep, waiting for the sun to rise so he can marry this woman he really and truly wants to be with for the rest of his life. Her mother is still frantically, calling vendors at 3 a.m. in the living room. Can I get a new wedding dress for my daughter? Please, she has burnt the one that she's supposed to use. Aya stands at the edge of the bridge and she looks down at the waters and she said, this is the end. This is where it all ends for her. Everybody can feel at ease if she's gone, because she feels like she has caused a lot of problems in the lives of the people around her, and this is just going to be the last problem she's going to cause. So if she goes, everything will be sorted out. So for some people, this is a very tricky situation, because some people will go like, okay, people will commit suicide. Can't they just say, no, I can't commit it. No, I have to. Depression is a very, very serious illness. Very serious illness. You might think it's easy for these people to come out of it. It is not easy. Before people make this kind of decisions, they've thought about a lot of things that is weighing on their heart. And for them to come to this kind of resolution, it's not because of, even studies shows that it's not because of they don't want to be here. It's because they don't have any reason, or they don't see any reason to be here, and they feel a lot of pain being alive, and they feel like the only way they can get out of it is if they die. So I'm not saying this is just an easy situation for Aya to just snap out of. Anyway, Aya thought, should she do this? Should she jump into these raging waters? Will the raging waters embrace her once she hits the cold, the cold waves? Then Aya thought about it. Then what will happen to the love of her life? What would happen to her mother? What would happen to the people who wish her well? Just as she was thinking about this, she plunges into the waves. She closed her eyes, silently counting in her mind, waiting for her to crash into the raging waters. But no, she's not hitting the waters. She's not touching the waters. She's not floating either. Aya's blouse got caught in the rails of the bridge. And it's got caught in the rails of the bridge that it's turned into a garrote on her neck. Now, this is it. This is your blouse and you are jumping, but it gets stuck on the bridge. So you slip out of it, then it becomes a chokehold. Now she wants to die by jumping into the waves, but God had other plans for her. And now it is difficult because that one, she just feels she's going to hit the floor and it's going to go. Now she's choking. She's now trying to grab at anything she can grab at to stay on the bridge. She's now begging God, I don't want to die. Just save me. Let me stay on this bridge. I won't do it again. Father Lord, I don't want to die. That was why I was smiling. I don't want to die. So she was grasping at every single thing she could. Her arms were, tearing at the rust. Blood was dripping from her arm. Everything was slippery. She could not grab at anything. And she now felt maybe this is a punishment for her, to die this way because she's going to put people through a lot of pain. But then she kept trying and kept trying. Her vision started to blur. Everything was becoming dark. Then suddenly, she grabbed onto a rung of the bridge. She gripped onto it with her dear life. She climbed onto the edge of the bridge and she sat down. When she sat down, she realized that everything happened so fast. She had tried to take her own life. She had gotten into an accident that could have taken her life. But still, what happened? She survived. Now let's eat. I've been sharing a story one year. See then. Let us eat, please. The story is still plenty where it's coming from. I hope you are enjoying it. Are you enjoying it? Are you guys enjoying it? We have not reached anywhere. Anywhere. Where should we start from? Are you shy?
I'm shy. When I knows I'm shy.
I'm not trusting for 1 second.
Is it a serve yourself location?
I don't trust you. I don't trust you. Guy.
How does it taste?
What doesn't best?
Hey! Hey!
After 3 spoons.
This is getting dominated.
I'm a sucker for plantain. Do you know plantains contain something called acrylamide that is carcinogenic?
Wow.
Do you know that? Guys, we did a course in chemistry. We did a course in chemistry called food browning. So there is the Maillard browning. So there is also this browning that occurs when you fry certain foods, for example, like potatoes, like plantain, and there's this stuff on it called acrylamide. But it tastes great. Take care of your health, guys. There's a way. Don't think like, okay, if you eat plantain, you're going to die. No. That's not what I'm saying, no. I'm saying, like, you can eat it, it's fine. But try to take a lot of antioxidants. And I'm talking about like orange, like fruits. So antioxidants actually deoxidize all this carcinogenic food we take. It's a course in chemistry I did. I'm giving you a free tip. I'm a chemist though. I graduated with, free chemistry lesson. What kind of alcohol do you take?
Just normal spirits.
Normal spirits.
I don't take beer.
No wonder your spirit is misbehaving.
I don't take beer. I don't spirits. I love spirits.
No wonder your spirit has problem. I don't take. You can use the cup.
You don't take spirits.
I don't take alcohol. I have never. I will never.
And spirit is not alcohol now.
Then is what?
Energy booster.
Not be juju be that.
And I spirit down below. Don't see when Allah was singing it. To boost up your spirits.
Daniel once said, spirit is not alcohol. If you're a kid and you're watching this, go and carry on work. I don't take alcohol. I've never taken alcohol. My mom makes agbo. She uses all this. What do you say? Yes, all this 7-Up, all this tanko with water. This to extract it. The highest she has gone is omidu of pap. And that's it. I'm very healthy. I have good liver. I take water. and I take soda. I take a lot of carbonated drink, which is not good. I've tried to cut it down because some people might be like, I don't take alcohol, but I take carbonated drink like twice a day.
They play. Just they play.
Your liver too, eh? It's called a purple. We finished the food before the story. Life is tough for in Nigeria, no.
Angry.
Let's continue with the
Nigerians.
story. Let's continue.
What do you want to eat? Chap donut.
Tomato donuts.
But you said it's milky donuts.
And now, don't say that there's ketchup there.
Something is happening. I don't want to choke, guys. No.
Welcome to part 2, episode 1.
No, it's not part 2. We're continuing. Okay. Like I said, I should do like all those British people.
70 years old man.
Go and wash your hand before you touch our donuts. Go!
And now we are doing like, we are doing all and opposites. You are doing foreign and I'm doing Tiwa.
Go and wash. Go and wash your hand. So Aya sat down thinking about all of the things that has happened to her as she sank it in. Then she realized life is too short to be feeling suffocated. Life is so short, and spontaneous to let all these things happen to you. She doesn't have it figured out yet, but Aya stood up and then she walked down the dark road to nowhere in particular. The voice and the sound in Adam's ear would not stop ringing. The sound in his ear was so loud. The sound in his ears were so loud that he could not even see properly. When there's a very loud noise, for example, when you go to an event, remember the last event we went to, those big speakers, those giant speakers we sat close to, and then when the engineer just started playing the song, how deafening it was. Now this is like times 1,000 of it. It was so loud, so deafening that he felt his eardrums had been damaged and destroyed. Adam looked around and there were people hovering over him, people looking down at him, and Adam was sitting just wondering, who are these people? What do they want? Even the people who were looking down at him were wondering, who is this man? Why is he standing up after just being run into by a motorbike at full speed? This man should not even be attempting to stand up, but Adam just wanted to get away from them. Instead of the people to call the ambulance, everybody was rumoring and everybody were talking around him like, what is going on? Who is this guy? Why is he being run over? Who is the person running over him? These were questions people were asking. They were not asking, should we get him to the hospital? Should we call the ambulance? Is he okay? Adam stood up from the crowd and he stumbled away. He kept walking. His body was reeking with havoc. His body was in pain. Adam was feeling so much pain that he did not even know where this pain would lead to. It could lead to his own death. Adam kept walking down this lonely road to nowhere in particular. He asked God for a sign to get away from everything. But how can he get away from everything when his wife just gave birth to a new baby, a bouncing baby boy? Would he just abandon his wife? It is crazy, right? Your wife just gave birth. Is that the next thing The next thing is not for you to run away. The next thing is not for you to disappear. The next thing is for you to be with your wife. But why is Adam running away? Why is Adam saying he does not want to be a part of this? Adam doesn't want to be a part of the life of his new child, his newborn baby. These are questions that keeps running in Adam's head. He starts to condemn himself. He starts to feel suffocated. Yet, he keeps, guilt tripping himself. Like, is this where I want to be? Is this what I want to do? Adam is conflicted. Should I go back to my wife? Or should I just keep walking away? A few hours ago, Adam was at the hospital. His wife just gave birth to a baby boy. And Adam saw the baby boy, held the little fragile child in his arms, and then and there, he felt he did not want to be a part of this. Adam kept the baby back in the arms of his wife, and he sped out the hospital door, into the car park, into the road, and he got run over by motorbike. Adam was hit so hard that he felt his body break inside, but miraculously he survived. He had no serious injuries, but the pain was real, and the people there were looking at him, wondering why this man walked into the main road despite knowing that this is a very major road. Adam kept walking. He wanted none of his life, the life he has behind. He just wants to keep walking away from this life. Adam got to the train station. He entered a train leading nowhere in particular. He does not know where this train will head. To. He does not know where this train is going to get to. But Adam just kept following this train, hoping that this train would take him far away from the life he has. Now, sitting in this train, Adam kept thinking about his life so far. It's not that he was a terrible man. He has never been a terrible man. In fact, he has been a very wonderful and loving man. So this woman, he really loved. He really loved her. They met. They became, boyfriend and girlfriend. They became fiancé and fiancée, and they became husband and wife. But now things were falling apart for Adam. What is it? When did it start falling apart? Adam was in total dilemma. Anyway, he sat down in this train and he kept looking ahead, wondering if this was the right decision. His conscience was eating him alive inside, but he kept at it. He kept following this train. Just as he looked to his left, there was a woman sitting in the train, leaning against the wall of the train. She looked simple, yet she looked breathtaking. He's not looking at her because it feels like, oh, she's beautiful. I have a wife at home and a son at home, and this is a beautiful woman. I want to follow her. But there was something about this woman that was so similar to him. It was almost as if he was looking at a mirror of himself. This woman's hair was in a mess. There were red marks around her neck. Her clothes were covered in blood. She was wearing no shoes. She was leaning her head against the train as the train was moving. And when she looks at him, she held his gaze and he held her gaze. It was almost as if they were looking at a splitting image of one another. In his mind, he wondered, why is this woman, on this train? She doesn't look like a mentally deranged person. She doesn't look like someone who is out of her mind. But then she looks injured and she's heading on this train. On this train, no other person is on this train. It's just this carriage. No other person is on this carriage. It's just the both of them. And Adam kept wondering, who is this woman? The other woman too was wondering. She had just tried to take her own life, and she has been given another opportunity to walk away from the struggles of her life. But who is this man that is staring at her opposite in the train? Aya Jackson and Adam met for the first time on a train going to nowhere. I'm trying, Avi. You're enjoying my storytelling gimmicks. You see the way I brought them together. Can you ever? Anyway, jokes apart. Aya got to the train station in a bus stop called Nowhere. At the last bus stop was where Aya came down. She came down from this train station thinking, what has she done? By the time she got to this train station, it was already in the morning. The sun was up in the sky. Everything was already getting bright. The golden sun was shining golden rays down on earth. And Aya kept wondering, what has she done? This morning, she was supposed to get married to the love of her life. Did she just run away? What would the situation be back then at home? What is happening back at home? This guilt kept eating Aya alive. She wanted to walk away from her life, but there was something, that just kept pressing down on her conscience that told her, just call the people at home. At least tell them you are safe. Aya then decided to go to a phone booth. A telephone booth was situated not very far away from the train station. Aya walked up to it. She counted 1 to 10 in her mind, thinking, what would my mother say? She could envision her mother screaming at her over the phone, telling, Aya, where are you? Like, you are getting married this morning. How would it feel when you are getting married, right? And you just walk away. How would everybody feel at home? People will be worried. Besides being worried, there's just going to be an awkward, a messy situation at home. Everybody is prepared. Possibly the wedding dress her mother even ordered in the night has arrived. So there's a lot of preparations being met. And if you are not there, it's just going to be a messy situation, very uncomfortable and awkward, messy situation. So Aya felt she needed to call home. She needed to at least tell her mother that she was okay and that she just felt suffocated and she just wanted space. I think if she even told her beloved, he would understand, right? Then Aya walked up to the phone booth. She picked up the phone. Just as she was about to, Aya walked to the phone booth, and just as she was about to pick up the phone, there was another hand reaching for the phone just immediately. That it startled her. So she stopped. Like when you want to take a phone, then somebody's hand just like wanted to, you understand? Then she stopped. So the person too stopped. Then she looked at the person, and it was the man she met on the train. That man too, Adam, wanted to call his beloved. He wanted to say, at least he apologized for just running off. Possibly he needed a day or two to himself that he'll be back. He felt his conscience weighing down on him. He felt guilty. He felt terrible about it. So just as he was reaching for the phone, Aya too was reaching for the phone, and they both stopped. And they both looked at one another. They met for the first time on the train. Now they are meeting for the second time at the phone booth. They don't know one another. They are not, they have no business with one another. But that similarity, Adam looked at her, there is blood all over his clothes, his hair is disheveled, she looks the same. They look like they've both survived something terrible that night. And that morning, Aya told him, oh, you go first. And I was like, no, you go first. So they kept pushing it to one another. Finally, Adam stops. I said, can you believe I just ran away from home? Which was also the same thing that happened to Aya. Aya laughed like, as an adult, me too, I ran away from home. It was shocking to them that we are both adults, we can make decisions, why did we run away from home? They didn't know one another, but that similarity between the both of them, and realizing just confiding in a stranger. So Adam said that, and Aya said that as well, and they were like, okay, you know what? This is very ridiculous. We ran away from home. Aya said, I wish you success in your life, and I wish you a peace of mind to actually be able to resolve yourself. And then it was same as well for Adam. That was what he told Aya. Then Aya asked him, what is your name? Before he left. Then he said, my name is Indigo. Aya looked at him. Then he asked Aya, what is your name? And Aya told him, my name is Violet. And they both parted ways. There is a small bookstore at the corner of nowhere. I remember I told you that the name of this bus stop is Nowhere. So there is a bookstore not far away from that train station, that bus stop, train station. The name of that train station is Nowhere. Now, there is a bookstore not far away from Nowhere. That bookstore is located in a strategic position. So Adam has been wondering, now is away from his home. He has not called his wife, he has not called his family to tell them to even ask about their well-being. He ran away while his wife was still in the hospital. So he was wondering, now I have this freedom. Is this even freedom when his conscience is biting at him every second? You know, if it's freedom, your conscience is free, you are living your life. But he's wondering, like, is this even freedom at all? Is this even any form of freedom at all? Then he decided, okay, what do I do with my time now? So first he went to take a bath in a public, a public bathhouse. After he took his bath at a public bathhouse, then he checked his account balance to see if he has money. All his money, he wired it to the accounts of his wife, so that she does not suffer in terms of money. Then the remaining few change he has for himself. The bathhouse, there is this NGO that they are giving out free bathhouse shirts to the homeless people. So he took some of those shirts, then he wore it to change his clothes. So while he was still, walking around trying to figure out what to do next, he stops in front of this bookstore that is at this train station. And then there is just something about books that draws Adam in. So there's something about books that fascinates him. So seeing the bookstore, it felt like, okay, let me just be around books, see the latest books that are here, get into this place before I even figure what is it that I need to do next. So Adam walks into this bookstore. Immediately he gets into this bookstore, he starts to look around. Then he sees a signpost that says, they are looking for book, people that would stay with the bookkeepers in the bookstore. They are looking to hire people in the bookstore. So he felt like he's very good with books. He has always been fascinated about books. He loves books. He loves anything that has to do with books. So getting into the bookstore, it fascinates him. Then he saw again that they are looking for someone that will work an attendant. Then he walked up to the owner of the book. He was before that. He was looking around. Then the owner of the bookstore walked up to him. Then the owner of the bookstore was like, "Can he help? Like, can I help you?" So he was fascinated by one book in particular. So the author of the book was an author he was that Adam likes a lot. So looking at that book and looking at that author, it was fascinating to him. So when the bookstore owner walked up to him like, "Oh, can I help you?" Adam then, they both had a few conversations about the book in particular, like, what it entails, what the book is all about. Then Adam now mentioned that, he saw a sign that, are they looking for someone that would handle, the book and everything. Like, are they looking for someone to hire? And the man said, of course, they're looking for people to hire. That the people that he hires nowadays, that none of them are really interested in books, that they're just handling everything anyhow for him. So Adam was like, okay, you'll be very interested to take on the job. And the man said, okay, fine. But Adam was like, he doesn't have anywhere to stay. He doesn't have any place to stay. The man was like, it's even good that if he sees that Adam is very enthusiastic about books, that he has a spare room that Adam can stay in. So Adam was like, on his first day of running away from home, of abandoning his wife and his child, like, he's a bad person. It feels like a bad person right now, but these things are aligning for him. Like, what is going on? So after the day, the man explained like how to lock up the shop. The man really likes him. The man said he sees him like a genuine, young man. So the man said, okay, this is how to close the shop. This is how to arrange all of these things. The man gave him the key that he has to go to the hotel. Now, the hostel. Now, the hostel is owned by this man. The man's name, let's call him Tony. Tony and his wife runs this hostel. So this hostel is like different rooms whereby people rent and stays. You understand? Most especially students of a nearby university. So he's running the hostel, him and his wife. It's a very, unique way of life because they have a bookstore. It has the hostel, you understand, that they are also running. So this guy, Adam, was very happy. He was very, very grateful. He feels like after all the bad things he has done today, or he has even done for the past 48 hours, nothing should work in his favor, right? But these things are still aligning for him. He was so grateful. He felt like if he gets to rest, he'll be able to think about what he's going to do next with his life. So he took the key, but he was so hungry. So before he left to go to the hostel, the man also gave him his daily wage. But the man told him, you see that hostel you're going to stay in, I'm going to be taken out of your wages to pay for the rent, which is a fair deal when you think about it. Out of your wage to... So Adam was very grateful. He took the key. The man gave him the rest of his wage. Then Adam was feeling very, very hungry. The man said he should use this because the man seeing him, he knows that this person has been through a lot, right? He said, use it to clean up yourself, and the rest is, history. So Adam took the money, and he was so hungry. His stomach was rumbling. He has not eaten in like 48 hours. His insides were tightening and unclenching and clenching, and it felt like he needed to at least eat something. So he cornered the bookstore. Now, when you corner the bookstore, there's a straight road that leads to a food stall. Now, a food stall is, you know what a food stall is? All those small food kiosks. So he saw the food stall at the distance. I was like, he's going to get food at this food stall. So he walked from the bookstore, he went to the food stall. So once he got to the food stall, the first thing he did was he just started, reaching his pockets for the money to buy food. He didn't even look up. So while he was saying, okay, I want this, I want this, I want this. Once he looks up to give the person the money, guess who he met? Aya. He met Aya again. She was working at the food stall. And he felt like, at the back of his mind, before he even got to the food stall, he has been thinking, the person I met this morning, he hope things are aligning for her as well. Or you get the way things are aligning for him as well. Now, seeing her working at the food stall, she's still wearing the clothes from this morning. That is, you can still see the brown stains on her body, but she has kind of cleaned up a little bit. There's still like ligature mark on her neck, and her hair is still in a messy bun. So she's working at the food stall. He was not even thinking if this is hygienic or not, but he was just thinking like, she too, she has, things are aligning for her as well. She was wearing an oversized slippers. She was just tying her apron. Her hands were clean, but you could still see they were like that. She was still wearing clothes from that morning. So immediately recognizes her. She recognizes him as well. But there was something so deadpan about Aya. Unlike him, who still has this I don't know if to call it optimistic, but he has this a bit of emotion, right? Her own face is just deadpan. There's no emotion on her face. But in Aya's mind, she's thinking she doesn't want to have any kind of relationship or friendship or any kind of association with anybody, because she feels like she's a guilty person. She ran away. She left her groom on the altar. She ran away from home. She does not deserve anything good. So she just don't want to intermingle with anybody. She just wants to get her mind clear until she knows what she needs to do in her life. So seeing her, the conversation was very awkward. I was like, I remember you. And she was like, I remember you. Indigo, yeah, Violet. Like, how's everything looking up? She said everything is okay. Then he got his food and he just nodded and then he walked away. The interaction was so awkward, so cold. There was no, hey, how are you? How is life going? Since the morning I saw you, there was none of that. Because the vibes Aya was giving was like, she does not want to talk to anybody. She just wants to be done with this. So he took his food and he went to the hostel. Now the hostel is a very old building. It's like all these block structures. I don't know if you know all these these government houses here in Nigeria. That's how it looks like. So it's a very tall building, but it is not painted. It's like an old building. You know that this building is old. Now once Adam gets to the reception, there's this guy, this bubbly young guy. He walks into the reception. That one has a very bubbly person. Like, hey, how are you doing today? Welcome to the hostel. And I was like, the hostel that is not even hostel that is not giving. You get, because the hostel itself and the boy at the reception, it's like they have two different contrasting personalities. The hostel looks dreary and old, and that young boy is so bubbly, so like, hey, welcome to the hostel. Can you come? And then Adam was like, okay, he got the key from Tony, and Tony told him to come to this hostel. I was like, oh, yes. Tony called him. He told him over the phone that somebody will be coming. He now said that all the rooms are occupied, but the room that is only available is Tony's son's room. Tony's son passed away a few years ago, so they kept the room the way it is. So possibly Tony saw something in Adam that looks, you understand, that reminds him of his son, was why he told him, to stay in the room. So Adam felt like, does he even deserve, you get what I'm trying to say, does he even deserve it? I mean, he left his wife and he left his child alone. That does he even deserve that accord? Do you get what I'm trying to say? And then he went up to the room, refreshed. The room felt like that son was still even living there. The bed was still intactly kept. Everything was neat. There were posters and designs, decorations on the walls that would know that this person was the one that actually did it himself. You get what I'm trying to say? So Adam felt like he felt so unclean to be in that kind of situation, to be in that kind of place. Anyway, he stayed in the house, he cleaned himself. Tony even told him to wear some of the old clothes that are there. He even felt so even more unclean to even wear, the clothes. But he did. So while he was inside, he kept looking at the decorations, and it felt like maybe this is a sign. He doesn't know what it is, but it felt like a sign. Now, Aya was working at the food stall. Her life has been difficult ever since she got down from the train, but it was not as difficult as she thought it was going to be. She walked to the food stall, then she walked to the food store, seeing that they needed someone to work at the food store, and she told the woman that she was ready to work. She was expecting the woman to chase her away because of the way she looks, but the woman gave her detergent and soap and water to clean up herself, to tidy her hair, and start work immediately. So she felt like it's a good sign, at least for someone who felt she felt she's not deserving of it. So for someone like that, she felt like, okay, this is an opportunity, right? So she started working at the food store. Just like fortunately, she ran into Adam again. And before she even ran into Adam, when he walked to the food store, she was thinking like, that person that morning, like, has he gone back home? Has he been able to, has he returned home? Like, how is his life? They don't know each other's backstories. Do you get? They just know that both of them ran away from home. So at that stall, she was working until Adam came. Now the store was about to close. The customers have all gone. Do you understand? She now turned to the owner of the food stall, and she told the woman like, okay, she's about to leave. The woman gave her her wages, and just as Aya was about to leave, the woman called her back and said, Aya, the woman does not even know her name. She introduced herself as Violet. The man called her, Violet, where are you going? Like, where would you stay for the night? You seem like you understand, you don't have anywhere to stay for the night. Aya said she was just going to possibly find somewhere to stay. The man was like, this is not a very safe place, so I have a key to somewhere that I feel you can stay. So she gives Aya the key, and Aya took the key from the woman. She thanked the woman. Aya felt so unclean, like, all these things that are happening to me. I'm a terrible person. I mean, I ran away from home. I left the love of my life at, everybody is worried. Nobody knows where I am right now. I didn't take my phone. I didn't take anything. Nobody can contact me. I didn't contact anybody. So it's just sickening. But she felt like, okay, maybe this is the sign she was begging God for. She took the key and she went to the place the woman asked her to stay. Fortunately for her, it was a hostel. This hostel was a big old building, a very old building. And she walked to the reception, and there's a very bright, bubbly boy at the reception. The boy was like, hey, hello, welcome to the hostel. I was like, who is this happy, bright kid that, in contrast to the hostel, the way the hostel looks like, this boy is so bubbly. And then she said, oh, Madam so and so said, let's call Madam Betty. She said, Madam Betty gave me this key to come to this place to stay. And I was like, are you sure? He said, yes, Madam Betty gave me this key to come and stay here. I was like, I don't think so, because there's somebody already occupying the place. And she was like, no, but Madam Betty said this place is vacant, that I can stay here. Aya felt like, you know what, maybe that's her punishment for being a terrible person. She wanted to leave. Then the young boy was like, okay, do you know what, let's walk up to the place so you can see it out, and I would call the owner of the room to, you know, make arrangements to see if that is the case. So Aya walked up, she knocked on the door, and the door is room 20. She knocked on the door of room 20, and just as they were waiting, this door creaked open just a little bit, and then the golden lights from inside the room spilled onto the corridor. And then just as she opened the door, the person standing in the door frame, you know, between the door and the door frame, was no other person than Adam. And she was seeing him again. She was wondering, like, what is going on? Like, Adam at that point even thought she was stalking him. Like, did my wife send you? That kind of thing. Why are you here? So immediately, Adam was like, I swear down, I'm not stalking you. She was like, I swear to God, I'm not stalking you. That's the receptionist boy ran back to his desk, called Tony, called Betta. Fortunately, Tony and Betta are a couple. It was their son that was living in that room before he passed away. Betta did not know that her husband, Tony, has gotten someone in. Neither did Tony know that his wife would get someone in. So Tony, the receptionist, came back and said, now here is the catch. This room is an attaché room. That is, when you enter the room, you enter into the living area. But when you go towards the left, there's a corridor that leads to 2 separate bedrooms. He said, if you want this, both of you can stay here together. But if you don't want this, one of you have to leave, or if both of you want to leave. Then Adam was like, maybe, you know, he feels unclean, because Adam does not know, they don't know each other's backstory. Adam feels like he feels unclean to stay in this place. Aya too felt like she felt unclean to stay in this place. So Adam was like, you know what? Just stay here, I'll leave. I was like, oh, you don't know don't know what's happening to me. Don't worry, just stay here. We'll stay here together. I'll take the room. You'd take this room. Let's get case settled. We don't have to be friends. We don't have to have any kind of interaction. We don't have to even pretend like we know each other. Just let's leave until, you know, in her mind, she feels like she's not even going to be staying here for long, and everything will sort that way. Then the receptionist was like, okay, I wish you two a happy, you know, happy time together, a happy, lovely, positive time together. And they're looking at him like, this one is not okay, does not know what is going on. That night, Aya could not deal with herself. She sat awake all through the night, weeping, feeling like she has caused a lot of havoc in the lives of the people around her. Her mother, her husband-to-be, and even her well-wishers, her family and friend. She felt like if God had only taken her life when she jumped off the bridge, all of this would have not happened. She sat down in her room and she started sobbing. She started sobbing so hard that... And before she left for that room, Betta has given her leftover food that she needed to eat, because she has not eaten anything. Even the food Adam bought that he said he was going to eat when he could not eat it, because they were both in their personal dilemma, thinking about the bad things they've done to the people they really cared about. Just as Adam laid awake, he could hear someone sobbing in the next room. So it felt so visceral, so real, like, you know, this is the punishment. So both of them are not getting, you understand what I'm trying to say? They are not getting themselves, not because of, you know, like, okay, they are feeling depressed. They are not getting themselves majorly because of their conscience is not even allowing them to rest whatsoever. But neither of them is going to tell the other what their dark, you know, desires are, or what their dark secrets are. So that night, there was a knock. Aya heard a knock on her door. She opened the door, and then standing in front of her door was Adam. Adam had paced back and forth in front of her door for close to like 10 times, thinking, should I knock? Should I not knock? Should I knock? Should I not knock? Because, she kept crying throughout the night. But when she opens it, her face was bland. It was almost as if she was trying to hold back her emotions, like, what are you looking for? That kind of thing. Then he said, okay, I have food. Do you want to eat? Then she realized that, okay, she has food as well. So both of them sat down at the table, just like we're having our mukbang right now. They took it to the living room, they sat at the table, and Aya had cried over the night, so she was eating silently. But just as Adam was about to eat as well, he remembered that this was kind of situation whereby he was with his wife. Then the tears came pouring. Then Aya stood up. She went to take one of the tissues in the house, in the room. She put it in front of him, and she told him, I'm not your friend. It's not as if we are friends, but if you need to cry, you can cry, and I will not judge you for it. Because she felt like she has something worthy to be judged. You understand? So what is that thing that is making this grown woman cry? So for the next few days, both of them lived together in that house. From days, it turned to months. From months, it turns to quarters of the year. So for the whole 6 to 8 months, both of them lived in the house. They coexisted. They did not talk about their past. They only coexisted as new people. Adam will wake up, will go to the bookstore, will walk, will come back. They will eat together, they will go to bed. Sometimes they take long walks. They don't talk about their past. She too, but every single day, their conscience still kept eating at them. So every single day, but they just felt like, let's take it one more day. Next tomorrow, I'll figure out what to do. Next tomorrow, I'll figure out what to do. Until 8 months passed. Then one day, they've fallen into a routine. So the routine is, they wake up in the morning. Adam likes to write because he loves books. He used to talk about, how much he wants to become a writer. So he loves books. So he writes. Sometimes he puts sticky notes all over the rooms, you understand, to, remind him of several things. Then they go to their respective work. Adam goes to the bookstore. She goes to the food stall. And then in the evening, they meet at the junction. They take long walks. They don't take the shortcut home. They take long walks to the house. So they don't talk about their past. They just, there's that silent companion. Do you understand? Neither of them knew the gravity of what they've done. So then there's one fateful day. Every day, Aya was thinking like she's already feeling too comfortable. For someone who is an evil person, because she thinks she's an evil person. For someone who thinks she's an evil person, she's already feeling too comfortable in this kind of lifestyle. Like one day, what if, she ran away from home and she's already getting comfortable and getting compassionate and passionate about Adam staying with her. She now feels like, what if Adam all of a sudden just leaves too? It's not only her. She now starts, you understand, like the same thing she did to people, it's going to happen to her as well. So that will happen this fateful day. Aya finishes at the food stall. She walks to the junction where she and Adam always meet. But he's not there. She looks around. Where is Adam? Then she felt, okay, maybe he's running late. Then she walks to the bookstore and she meets Tony. Tony said, oh, Adam has left a while back. And she was like, it is happening. He has left. So she does not have the right to feel bad about it, but she felt so bad about it because she has been, consistently judging and, criticizing herself over the years. She felt so terrible, so bad about it. Then she ran home to the house they both shared, if he was there. She checked everything. Everything was just as they left it that morning. His sticky notes were on the wall. The pile of books he has bought over the months that he likes to read was by the bookshelf. The beds were laid as if nobody has been there since. So it was gone. She started looking around. She's anxious. She's very, very, very anxious, very nervous. She's having panic attacks, like it's happening to her all of a sudden. Now let's take it back a few hours earlier. Adam was at the bookstore and he was looking forward to his evening walks because those were the only few hours he had or few minutes he had to really think about things. It was a quiet, peaceful evening walk. So Adam was really, really hoping for an expecting their evening walks. Adam closed the bookstore. Tony has confided in him, like, okay, he can handle the bookstore if he's not around. Adam closes the bookstore and rushes home. But just as he was walking towards the junction where he and Aya would meet, once he got to that junction, he felt someone was following him. He felt someone had been following him for quite a while. Adam looks back and then he sees somebody. He did not take the genius part of himself to know who this person was. Standing before Adam was a splitting image of Adam. It was someone that looked exactly like him, but only an older version. This person was smelling of alcohol. This person was looking haggard. This person had gray hair on his face and on his hair. This person was Adam's father. This person had left Adam when Adam was very young. He had abused Adam over and over again, and this person had been the one who beat Adam's mother to death. So Adam had visceral hate for this man. This was one of the reasons why Adam held the people in his heart so dear, his wife and his son. And this man left Adam when him and his mother needed him the most. So Adam has always mirrored himself after his father, thinking what he did to his wife and his son was also the same thing his father did. So his self-hate has always stemmed from his father. Now he was looking at his father face to face. His father has been following him for quite a while. Adam and his father got into a very heated argument. His father was telling him, where have you been since all these years? You ran away, you started making it, you look prim and proper, you are making it, you cannot send your father money, that kind of thing. And Adam is wondering, is this man even in his right senses? So Adam always cowered in front of his father because his father always beats him. And I'm not talking about, spanking, just spanking. When Adam was a kid, his father would pummel his face into the cement. His father would burn cigarettes on his body. His father had all these vile things to do to Adam. So Adam hated his father growing up, but he was scared of his father as well. And Adam felt like he's also a reflection of his father because of what he did to his wife and his son. However, Adam's father took a jab at Adam, thinking, you're still my son, I can still beat you. But Adam is now a grown man. So when he took a jab at him, it felt like nothing. Adam held him down. Now, the man now said, I have been looking at you for a while now. I see that you are always going home with this young lady. So the fact that this person, because Adam knows what his father can do to the women, to the women in his life. Adam has seen his father killed his mother. Adam has seen his father assault other people. Adam has seen his father treat women in a degrading way. So now that his father was threatening him with Aya, there was a spark in his head, like, you can't do this. Like, you can't, I feel like my life is in a place whereby I'm trying to figure it out. You can't come and now destroy what is left of my life. So Adam and his father got into a heated fight. So his father, for the first time, felt pure weakness, like his son is stronger than him. And Adam told his father that he has to leave. He just has to go, that if he ever shows up again, Adam threatened his father that he's going to murder him if he ever shows up again. Then the father left. So now, during that period of time where Adam and his father were having a scuffle, I had gotten to the junction thinking Adam had left. I had gone to the house thinking Adam had disappeared. Now her conscience is eating her alive. Her conscience is eating her raw. All the anxiety she has been hiding for the 8 months has been eating her alive. Like, she just feels like, no, she's going to run mad at this stage. So she now decided, like, for the last time, she's going to walk through the long path where they used to walk to in the evenings when they take their evenings walk. The evening walk borders a beach. So they used to take the beach side to their house. So she walked down to the beach side. At that point in time, after the scuffle with his father, Adam has gone to the junction. He did not find Aya. He has gone to the food store. He did not find Aya. He has gone to their home as well. He did not find her. So in his mind, she has gone, and then is left with his conscience as well. So he decided to take the beach side for the last time. So while walking on the beach, just looking, he's not seeing anybody that looks like her, that walks like her. He now realized that over those 8 months, every little details that I think that he did not notice of her, he was not like realizing that, oh, she's this short, oh, she's this tall, do you understand? Oh, she looks like this. And at that point in time for her too, all those little details that she did not take note of, she was not taking note of, like, oh, is this tall? It's not this person, it can't be this person. You get what I'm trying to say? Then it started to, reflect on his anxiety, how he was feeling at that point in time. So when they got to the beach, I has already made up her mind, like, he has left her. Him too is feeling like, okay, Aya has gone. So when they met at that beach, Aya saw him. She felt angry. Not angry because of like, why did you run away? But angry because there was this sense of like, she felt stupid. She felt like she has overjudged the entire situation. And she felt like a sense of betrayal in some sort. The betrayal she feels like her parents and her lover would have felt at that point in time when she left them behind. She walked up to him and she did not know, for the first time, Adam saw that Aya was actually showing emotions. She was so angry, like, where have you been? I've searched for you. But there is nothing that is binding them together. He's not responsible to be like, okay, I have to be here at any point in time. Same thing as Aya as well. Like, there's nothing binding them together, like, okay, you have to be here, I have to be here. Do you understand? Or if I go anywhere, you have to hold me in ransom for it. Do you understand? They're adults. He can walk away if he wants. She can walk anywhere. But there's something that binds them together. That shared compassion, like that companionship. Like, okay, they've been through something. Like, they've done something bad in their respective life. So they are finding sanity in the in the companionship of one another. So him too, he did not see it like, okay, she's getting mad because like I have the right to go anywhere. He seen it in the sense like it felt like possibly he has betrayed her, like just the way he betrayed his wife and his son, and she felt betrayed, and she felt that she has also betrayed him just the way so at the end, when they had their heated, that was the first time he actually saw her break down like that. She was crying, she was yelling, why did you leave, why did you go, I couldn't find you, I went home, I went this, I went that. Then finally, when the dust settled, when everything settled, Aya realizes she has to go back home. Like, she cannot keep living like this. She has to confront her deepest fears. She has to tell her parents she's okay. She has to apologize to her lover. She has to, fix everything. She cannot just keep living like nothing is wrong. She can't keep doing that. So Aya was feeling like, she feel like she has to go back home. She has to make things right. Then she told Adam for the first time, I have to go back home. Like, she can't keep living like a mad person. Every second of every day for the past 8 months, she has been living on the edge, thinking something bad is going to happen to her. God is going to strike her down with thunder. She has been living on the edge. Then Aya got home, she packed her stuff, and she was the first person to leave. So she left Adam alone and she went back home. Adam sat in the confines of their shared apartment, and for the first time, it felt empty. For the first time in a long time, it felt empty. Now, all these little nuances of Aya that he thought he did not notice before, then he started to notice. He started to realize that, oh, she used to cook in the morning. Oh, she's the one that used to put the cup here. Oh, she was the one that arranged this lamp. Oh, she was the one that used to adjust the curtains. Do you understand? All those little things that she used to do. Even though she's quiet most of the times, the little noises she makes in the house makes him feel like, okay, he's with somebody, he's not alone. 3 years ago, Adam met the love of his life. He thought this person was going to be the one that would be with him forever. However, this person, there was a situation that happened that, she was in a very, I don't want to say it with all my full mouth, but she was in a situation whereby she got pregnant. But it did not belong to Adam. It belonged to the perpetrators. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? Now, because of Adam's true love for her, he thought, do you know what? I'm going to handle it. I'm going to love her still, and I'm going to take care of this child that is coming. So all the while she was pregnant, he was getting the baby cot ready. He was fixing the house. He started fixing the house. He was still struggling at the time, but you know that they are expecting a child, so he was doing everything. So when that child finally came, when that child reached his hands, he realized that he was not mentally prepared. He did not have the mental capacity and the strength to actually go further with it. So he wanted space. So while looking for a space to just clear his head was when he was run over by a motorbike in the beginning. Do you understand? So we are taking it back a few years back. Now, during those times while this woman was pregnant for him, Adam always noticed that she was always being secretive. Anytime he tries to, she's with her phone, she makes a phone call, she sneaks in, she goes away. So he's always feeling like there's something secretive about her. But he did not pressure her because he knows that she has been through something very traumatic. And then he does not want to put any pressure, so he has been a source of comfort. But then he told her, okay, let's go to the hospital, let's go to the police station to report this incident. But she did not want to. So, but he felt like, maybe the trauma was so much for her, was why he did not pursue it. So he stayed with her through those 9 months. So when she gave birth, he realized that this was just too much for him. He was not mentally prepared to even become a father when it happened, because Adam is not the owner of the child. So all of those combined, and he kept blaming himself, like, I'm going to be a terrible father to this child. I have to distance myself from this child because of the childhood trauma he has carried, So all of these things were what caused Adam to, freak out and be like, okay, I don't want to be a part of this. Not because, it's the way it was written. It's not because he spited his wife, but he feared that the trauma he carried might, the cycle of hate might repeat itself, because he saw the way his father hated his mother and him. So he used to feel like it was a problem as a child. That was why his father, took out the anger on his mother. So that trauma, it feels like he's going to replay the same thing on his son. Not that he wants he will, but he just has the feeling that it might happen. And also, before he said that, okay, I'm going to take this child as mine, the wife was already making plans like, okay, you have to take it. You're a good guy, you're a good man, so you have to take this child as yours. So just out of that affection he has for her as well, and because of course he's a good guy, to her, it felt like, okay, let me take on the responsibility. But everything started working and started moving so fast, and the child was there. Then he just panicked and he left. Now Aya, on the other hand, she got back home. When she got to the front of her house, several thoughts were running through her mind. Should I enter this house? What will my mom say? What will the love of my life say? What is happening? Like, what is going to happen? Before Aya got married, or before Aya had the notion that she wanted to get married, she has always listened to whatever her mother said. Her mother is the tiger of the house, meaning her mother is the one making all the rules. So every rule, her mother is this, strong person. She has this big attitude in the house. So everybody listens to the mother, everybody bows to her mother. So if her mother says, okay, sit properly, do this, the discipline and everything. So there's always this, hovering over Aya and micromanaging every aspect of her life. Even as Aya is old enough to make her own decisions, the mother keeps micromanaging every part of Aya's life, even down to the person she has to get married to. So the mother was like, you have to get married to this person. So the feeling and the affection started, did not stem from, okay, this is the person I wanted to marry. The mother was like, you have to marry this person. You have to have affection for this person. You have to grow with, to understand this person. So all of these questions kept running through Aya's mind. Like, if she walks in through this door, what would be, the thing her mother would say to her? What would be the reaction? Like, would people, slap her, hurt her, beat her because she's a prodigal child? Or would they hug her, welcome her back because she's also the prodigal child? So when she walks into the house, it was very silent. It was eerily silent, like as if she was never there in the first place, or she was always there, just the way she remembered. There was silence, pure silence in the house. Then she walked into her mother's office, because her mother has a studio, like a study in the house. She walked into her mother's office, and her mother was working on the system. Her mother glanced up, looked at her, and her mother continues working. And she was like, it was almost as if she never left. Then she felt like, wait, did they even look for me? Did they even search for me? What if I had died? Like, what is going on? She doesn't feel justified, but she asks these questions, bubbling in her mind. Like, I left, and what happened? Her mother is a very influential person, by the way. So she felt like, at least in the newspapers, she would have seen something, heard something. There was nothing about her disappearance. Her mother was like, I know you. Are you not my daughter? You are so over dramatic. You take everything. You are so dramatic about everything. You act as if the world should revolve around you. And the mother started saying all sorts of things to her. Then Aya was like, but ma, you didn't even ask about. Mother was like, okay, did you now die? Did you die? You are the one in front of me now. Did you die? You made it alive. Didn't you make it alive? Then she was trying to explain to her mother, like, she was feeling all of these things. She was feeling suffocated. She was feeling this. Her mother was like, she's so dramatic that why didn't she just voice it out? Then I was saying that, like, she has tried to voice it out on several occasions that she did not want to get married to this person. But the mother kept saying that, who did she not want to get married to? She's old enough for marriage. The mother did not give her that autonomy of her own life, that, okay, go outside, meet the person you want, or even, be your own self. Then Aya tried to talk to her mother. The mother was verbatim like, I don't care. I think I've tried my best as a mother, but you have been, I don't know. Do you expect me to now start writing on the news or start looking for you when I have an inclination that you ran away? So Aya was trying to explain to her mother, it's not as if I ran away because I wanted to, but these were the things I was feeling that led up to that. Aya felt so betrayed, in a sense that, she felt like, okay, her guilt has been eating her up these 8 months leading up until this moment that she's coming to, tell her mother that these are the things that have been going through my mind. But the mother is outrightly telling her that, I don't care. Like, I don't care. You are not the only child I have. You are the only female child, but you're not the only child I have. So if Aya was now thinking in her mind, like, what if she had died on that bridge? What if she had died? Would this be the same reaction her mother would have? That she came back here because she felt bad, that her mother would miss her, that her mother would feel embarrassed. Her mother was like, what is done is done. So, like, there's nothing I can do about it. Your wedding is gone. Aya now felt like, okay, that has happened. She also needs to apologize to the person she wanted to get married to. So she went over to his house. She was fidgeting. She was anxious. Like, what is going to happen? You get, like, Aya wants to break free from the the guilt that has been pressing on her. So when she got to the house, she summoned all her courage. Like, okay, I'm going to talk to him. I'm going, even if it's possible to get down on my knees, I'll get down on my knees and apologize. But once she walked in, she said, like, she was ushered in. She started noticing that, okay, there are frames of him already married to somebody else and everything. So when he came in, it was like he has no hard feelings. Like, if she's not married to him, is going to get married to somebody else. That after all, they are both adults and they can make their decisions. But Aya still felt like maybe he was fronting, maybe he was just trying to cover up. He told her outrightly, I have no hard feelings, that because of the decision she made then, was what was able to make him find the person he truly loves and helped him get through all those moments whereby he was feeling sad, searching for her and all of that. That's what is gone is gone. So Aya and our lover or our ex-lover settled it on amicable terms. Like, he's happy now, so he cannot be mad at her. Like, if he was still suffering, he was still looking for her, then she showed up out of the blue, it would be justified. But look at him. He's a rich man. He has his wife that he already loves, so everything is aligning for him. He said if he wishes her to go and find her own self, and everything should also align for her. So Aya apologized and she went back home, but she realized that if she remained in her mother's house, she's going to repeat that cycle. So she just wanted to break free. Her conscience has been cleared. Even though she felt bad for what had happened, she felt like she had been able to, this is the first time in her life she's actually making a solid decision by herself without the influence of her mother. She now decided to go back to nowhere, and going back to that place, she was her true self. Nobody even know that she came from a rich family. I'm talking about her mother is very influential, so nobody is going to even knew that she came from a rich family or anything. She's selling at a food store. She's living life as humbly as as she can. She's doing anything she wants. She's able to take evening walks. Her life is not all prim and proper. You have to meet this socialite, you have to meet that socialite, so everything is working for her. So she felt like if she goes back there, she can be able to build on her own self, find her own self. And during the time she journeyed back home, she now realized that she was already having an affection for Adam, in the sense that they are both similar in a way. So she felt like she's going to go to Adam and she's going to tell him, like, this was the reason why I left home. That if he's going to be open with her and he's going to feel like, okay, he's not going to judge her for it, they can continue their companionship and they can still be friends. Not knowing that Adam himself left his wife and his own child. Meanwhile, going back to nowhere, she got to the reception. The boy was so bubbly. He was so happy to see her, like, oh, I've missed you. Where have you been since all these months you traveled? And she felt like, okay, she's back. Then he gave her the key to the apartment. But when she entered the apartment's door, hoping to see Adam crouched over his book, possibly reading the way he used to, the apartment was empty. Adam has left. Now, taking it back, Adam was empty. He realized that if he kept at this, there won't be a difference between him and his father, because his father did the same thing, not verbatim like the same thing you get, like his father did to his mother, like beating and abuse and all of that, but it's basically the same thing. He abandoned his wife and his son, because even though that son did not belong to him, that was a responsibility he chose to take on. That was a responsibility. He said, okay, I'm going to go into this, I'm going to take care of this. So freaking out means he's a coward, so he has to go back and amend things. Adam decided to go back. He also felt like he has a lot of trauma he needed to heal from, a lot of past things that has happened to him that he needed to heal from. So Adam traveled back to his house. He gave Tony his key. He thanked Tony for all the opportunity that was given to him. Tony really liked Adam because of all the people that has handled his bookstore. Adam was the one that handled it magnificently well. Adam knew how to take care of the books. The customers loved Adam. Adam knew how to sell a book. Adam loved storytelling. So Tony was it was just like a reflection of his own son. So Tony was going to miss him very much. But Tony felt like, if you have to make things right, you have to go. So Adam left. He got back to his home. in front of his house, Adam was feeling so anxious. He was feeling so self-conscious, and he felt like, if I walked in through this door, what would this woman say? Would she scratch my eyes out? Would she swear at me? I left her with a newborn baby, 8-month-old baby. I left her alone. Like, what would, like, he would not even forgive his own self if, you know, he left himself alone that way. So he felt like he had to make things right. He had to apologize. Adam felt like he has to get down on his knees to apologize if possible. So when he got to the house and he rang on the doorbell, there was no response. So he knocked. And when the door opened, a man emerged from his own home. So when the man came out, Adam was like, what are you doing in my house? Like, who are you? The man saw him, and the man said, don't let's have a conversation here. She's resting with the child. Let's go and have a conversation in the nearby restaurant. But Adam felt like he's not in a situation to make demands, because what? He left the woman and the son alone for 8 months. He does not know who this person is, but he followed the man to the nearby restaurant. They sat down. Adam was waiting. Maybe that person was a comforter during the time he was left, so he did not want to jump into conclusions. The man told Adam, that child is not yours. Adam said, I know. He said, that child is mine. Adam was like, hold up. What? I don't understand too. Like, what's going on? The man said, I know you are upset. I know you might want to, you might want to be, you're upset. You might be asking questions. But that child belonged to me. And I was like, how did it even belong to you? He could not even say that she had, a horrible incident happen to her. So he could not say that. He was like, no. He understood that something happened to her was why she gave birth to that child. The man told him it was a lie. He was in prison at the time that child was, being born. After the child was conceived, he was jailed for a misdemeanor. So he was in prison during all those periods. That child Adam did not even want to hear anything. He felt like maybe this person is lying to him. If there's anybody he has to hear the truth from, it has to be from his wife. He has to go in and hear from her. So Adam just stood up like, you have to be kidding me. Like, no, it can't be. Adam stormed into the house. He opened the door and Adam went in. The man was trying to hold him back, like, no, stop. So as he just met his wife, she was standing at the doorpost. He met his wife. He didn't even know if he's to hug her, to kneel down, to apologize, to ask her questions. A lot of things were conflicting at that point in time. So he saw her and was like, she just said, it's true. It's true what? Like, what is true? Like, the man said, after all, he left 8 months ago. Adam was like, okay, he left. He's sorry for that. Every single day, he has been feeling bad about it. He wants, like, his life has never been the same ever since he left. That this was the reason why he left. So he's so sorry about that. But how can he unpack that? This child that is now back to, to want to take responsibility of, to lay his life down for, you are saying it does not even belong to me. So all those trauma, all those stress, everything now started to piece together. All the time she was pregnant, she has a phone call, she will sneak away. All those times that, things were... Does that mean that all those times she knew, because he's a good man, he was going to, and he was trying so hard not to be like his father, he was going to accept it regardless of regardless of the consequences. She was like, there's nothing she can do about it. That she has already made up her mind that she and husband was like, wait, husband as how? Like, but we are married. Me and you, we are the one that we are ring, we're married. Who is this man? She was not like, okay, I'm sorry about this, but we have already made arrangements to go to Amsterdam. She told him that if he came a day late, he would have not even met them around that she's living that. She apologized for sinking his life. So it was like he ran mental. He could not tell what was real all the time whereby he left, that he felt like he's a terrible person. He still feels like a terrible person because it's not justifiable, like he left the wife and the son alone. But he felt cheated because despite feeling all of these things, this woman knew that is not, if she was not even in that situation that she told him that she was in. That child was not a result of a felony, was not a result of something bad that happened to her. This was a conscious decision she made with this person to have this child, and she did not mention it, but she just took it because she knows that it is Adam. He will accept it because Adam always wants the best, for his family. And all this while he has been feeling like a bad person. He was not the only villain in this story. So she was also, a villain in this story. Adam broke down mentally because he could not even tell what was real. He could not tell if he was the villain. He could not even tell if he was the victim. He could not tell what was real and what was not real. The wife left with the son and the man. So he was left alone in the house. So then he told himself, after a few days of, being utterly depressed, because he was utterly depressed, his whole life was in shambles. He could not even get out of bed. He could not even take care of him. He could not clean himself. He just felt like there is nothing more to live for. All his money too. He has given all his money to her. So there was nothing more for him to live for. So it felt like there was nothing left. But there was a ray of hope for him, because he felt when he was at his awesome, when he didn't have to hide or pretend as if he was okay with something, this person, Violet, made him feel like you do your thing. Do you understand? You can be your absolute self. You love reading books. You love being a nerd. There was no judgment. Like you have to be a man. You can't be emotional. So even when he broke down, he was in tears. She was even telling him, I'm not going to judge you if you are being emotional with me. So he felt like that was the only time he was actually his true self. So he felt like if he has to be strong, he has to go back to that place of peace whereby he felt like his true self. But this time around, without any self-judgment. So what did Adam do? Adam started to go to therapy. So he booked with a psychiatrist, and they had sessions together. Then he started to write a book, the book of how he met Indigo, how he met Violet, how he traveled, how he ran away from home. He felt like he needed to channel that into his story. So he channeled that into his story, and he felt like, okay, if it sells, it sells. Now, flashback. There was a time when Adam was at Tony's bookstore, and Adam was telling Tony, one day I hope my books will be in your bookstore, like this, an island in your bookstore whereby people can just come and be like, okay, this is my, nobody knows him in nowhere as Adam. Everybody knows him as Indigo, remember? And nobody knows Violet as Aya. Everybody knows Violet as Violet. So Adam was like, okay, one day he's going to have his books on the shelf here. And Tony was telling him, if there's anything, I believe in you. So Tony felt like a father figure that Adam never had, while Bertha felt like a mother figure Aya never had. So in that situation, Adam was like, he's going to write a book, and he's going to send copies to Tony. This book blew up. People love this book. People enjoy this book. Like, whoa, like they didn't see the plot twist coming. Everybody thought that these are just two adults that are terrible people, and they're trying to justify their life and everything. So he sent these books to Tony, and Tony did not even know it was Adam Indigo that wrote, because his name was Adam Young on the book cover. So now Violet, who is Aya, she already knew that Tony, she knew Tony and Bertha are married, obviously. So she goes to the bookstore every time. Anytime she finished from work, she goes to the bookstore to give Tony. She volunteers to give Tony lunch, just so that she can still be in that space where, Adam was. But she does not. He's not around. He has not come back. It's been like years. It's been like 2 years. He has not come back. So she felt like it's just a one-time thing. She met this person. So now, as she was walking down the story aisle, Tony was arranging the island where the books were, and he said, "Oh, is this a new book?" Because she now started picking up reading. Ever since he left, the books he had cluttered in the house. She was, okay, what's this book about? Then she started picking up reading. So now she saw this book Tony is arranging. She told him, this book you have here, like, it looks like a new collection. It was, yeah, somebody sent them to me. This story is very interesting. And the title of the book is Indigo Loves You. So she was like, Indigo, sounds like Indigo, right? Let me just pick it up, because she knows Indigo, but she does not know it's affiliated or knows, she does not know that he's even the writer at all. So when she opens the book, the first thing she saw in the book, she took the book just to skim through. She opened the first page. The first thing she saw was "To Violet." And she was like, it's just like it's just a bloody coincidence. Now, holding that book, she felt like, okay, this is a coincidence. So she just flipped through the book. Then she opened the last page, and on the last page before she got to the last page of the book, she opened the book. She saw "To My Reflection," Violet. Then she opened another page. Then she saw "Indigo Loves You." Then immediately she was like, you know what? I'll just take this book. I'll read this book. So she told Tony, give me this book. I want to read this book. Then Tony was like, she said, how much would it cost? And Tony was like, no. You take the book and you read. This book was sent to me for free, to sell. So you take one and go and read it. Then she went home. She just dropped the book at first, just on a corner. Then she felt intrigued. Then she took the book and she started to read it page by page. Then she was so hooked on it, she could not even drop it, because it was as if she was reading her story. She was reading about her. She was reading about how she met this random person, exactly how she looked, the clothes she was wearing. And on the name of the person, on the name of the writer was Adam Young. She was like, no, this person's name is Indigo, right? It can't be Adam Young. So it was so intriguing for her. So at the end of the book, there was a scribble, just like the post-it notes you used to leave all around the house. Now there was a scribble in this exact handwriting. It's like a picture of a scribble on a post-it note, and it read, every day I take the lonely train in my mind just to relive the first time I met you. That is to say, it takes the lonely train in my mind to relive the first time I met you. Maybe, just maybe, we can meet again this way, but as free people with purpose. So reading that, she felt like it has to be him, right? It has to be him. Aya was in tears when she finished reading this book, because it was as if he was talking about her. She now realized that all these subtle things, all these little things, all these minute things that she had thought she was the only one noticing about him, he had noticed about her. And she felt like she was not crazy if she had feelings for somebody that, that was a safe space when she was in her lowest form. And even if she thinks that, okay, it might just be like maybe just an attraction because of she was in her lowest time. She was in the lowest time of her life. That is why she have an attraction towards him. But it's been 3 years and 7 months after they've met each other. It's been 3 years. About 3 years since he has left, and she still feels like, okay, she still needs to see him at least one day. She still thinks of him from time to time. All the little post-it notes he left in the house, where he left it, she just cleans the house and she still leaves it there to remind her of the safety that he provided for her during the time she was in the lowest moment of her life. Because think about it, two strangers living together, who knows the intent of the next person? Who knows the intent of the person living? You know, you get what I'm trying to say. The person might be a criminal. He created a safe place for her, and she felt like, okay, this is it, right? So if they are ever going to meet again, she's going to tell him how she felt. Now let's take it back a bit. Adam had just sent boxes of his books to Tony. He just got off an interview about his latest book titled Indigo Loves You. And he's so proud of his work because he has always wanted to be a writer now. And during the time him and Aya were living together, she always told him, if you want to be a writer, you can start. Tony has his bookstore there. You can start selling your book in Tony's bookstore. So these were all the little things he has combined together. And even the advice from Tony, that Tony would tell him, you know, you can do it. Write your books, and you know, we will display your books and all of that. So now he has put in the work, and now his books are being displayed. So this is something he's so proud of, that he has come a long way. He has healed from his trauma. He feels like he's strong enough to face what lays ahead. He has forgiven those that has hurt him in the past, and he feels like he feels like, okay, he has made mistakes and he has apologized, even despite the fact that she did him this way. I mean, his wife. He still sent letters to apologize for abandoning her with a child. So he apologized. So he feels like he has been absolved, at least from the sins he has committed. And now he's moving forward. Now he has sent his books to Tony. He now wants to go to surprise Tony in nowhere. In his mind, he does not know Aya is still, she has moved back. He feels the moment she left, then she's gone. So his own thought is like, if she reads his book somewhere in the world, you know, she'll be able to say, okay, this was the person that we lived, these two strangers that lived in this apartment together for just 8 months. So he went back to the nowhere. Then he went to the bookstore. Tony was so happy to see him. Tony was like, oh, you're Adam Young. So Tony was so happy, like, oh, you're the writer, your dreams have come true. He has never felt like, you know, someone is so proud of him. His father is a drunkard. His father is very useless. But this is somebody that sees him as his son and is so proud, like, you accomplished. No, I'm very, very proud of you. So Adam was like, you know, people were even coming towards him like, can you sign my autograph? Can you sign my autograph? So he was feeling so ecstatic, like, you know, this is the moment, you get. This is what he has been dreaming of. And, you know, Tony has been like a very, very, like, out as a positive, you know, figure in his life. Father was never. Now, Tony just mentioned in passing, like, you know, just a few hours ago, Aya was here picking up your book. Violet, because they don't know her as Aya over there, like, Violet was here picking up your book. And it was like, wait, Violet who? It was like, Violet was here picking up your book. He didn't even let Tony land. He didn't even let Tony finish. He just ran out of the bookstore all the way to the hostel. He passed by the food stall, said hello to Betty and Bertha. I said hello to Bertha and just rushes towards the hostel. He was not even thinking straight, like, okay, what does he want to say? What is he going to tell her when he gets there? But in his mind, he just felt like, okay, I'm going to get to the hostel. I just want to see her. I've not seen her in like 3 years and 7 months. That's 3 years since, you know, 3 years since he left. So he has not seen her since then. So getting to the hostel, he just ran past that receptionist. The receptionist was like, hello. Did not hear anything. He just ran past the receptionist and he went up to the 20th room. And when he got to the door, he realizes, what am I going to tell her? What am I going to say to her? At that point in time, Aya was also, you know, like, she just finished reading the book. She's all emotional. She just feels like, okay, I need to go and meet Tony. I need to know where this book came from. Who sent him these books? Like, you know, so I can trace it down. At least look for a search for Adam, because she now knows it's Adam, right? Indigo, just to search for him. But as she opens the door, now remember that in the beginning, Adam was the one inside the room, while Violet was the one that came when they gave her the key. So she was the one that walked up to the door while it was inside the room. But now reverse is the case. Aya was the one inside while Adam was the one, outside. So Adam was outside the door. He was thinking like, okay, how do I get in? What do I say to her? Then Aya opened the door. She's about to rush to Tony to ask him, where did this book, where is he? Do you understand? So when she opened the door, the first person she sees standing in front of her in flesh and blood, clothed and looking so prim and proper, fresh kid from, was as in handsome guy was standing at the door frame. It was Adam. And for the first time, Adam, found his words and he introduced himself with his real name. Hello, my name is Adam Young. And even though she was in shock and she was excited and anxious and nervous, and she responded, introducing herself with her real name. Hello, my name is Aya Jackson. And they shook hands and there was fireworks and they lived happily ever after. But I was thinking to myself, what can I do? What can I write? What can I do to twist this story that will make my audience go, no, you didn't do this, why? But then I felt like, this story is interesting, but I could also have an epilogue. And in the epilogue, remember when Aya was hanging on the bridge, when she fell and her clothes became, a chokehold, a hook to her neck? Remember that moment in the story? Aya actually passed out, but she did not pass away. She was rushed to the hospital where she remained in coma for 3 years. Remember when Adam was hit by a motorbike and everybody was looking down at him like, who is this guy? He also passed out, but he did not pass away. And he was also in coma for 3 years. So at that point when they both shook hands, at that moment when they both shook hands, Aya opened her eyes and her mother was looking at her with so much worry written on her face. Are you okay? What happened? My daughter she's alive, she's awake. Doctor, nurses. Her mother was ecstatic, she was in tears, she was happy, she was everything. And I was like, where the hell am I? But then it felt like she was remembering something, but she could not really remember it. The doctors poured into the room. Aya is looking around like, what's going on? But she cannot really understand what is going on. A rice sieve, when you put water inside, the way the water drips out from the base. That was Aya's memory at that point in time. She was trying to grasp onto things. She was trying to remember some things, but she could not remember. Who is Adam? Adam is... who's... Then the whole memory vanishes. Aya has been comatose for 3 years and 7 months ever since the incident. Aya recovered from her illness. She recovered from her coma. Then she had a heart-to-heart conversation with her mother that she felt suffocated all this while living like that with her mother. And she has not been able to manage her own life because her mother has been micromanaging every aspect of her life, down to even the person she wants to get married to. She told her mother blatantly that she's not going to get married to this person, even though she has recovered from coma. But what is interesting is that while she was in coma, this person she wanted to get married to had moved on. This person has actually gotten married to somebody else while she was in a coma. So possibly when they were having the conversation while she was comatose inside the hospital room was when it was like translating in her coma mind that, okay, she went to visit this person and this person is actually married. So While Aya was still, grappling with the fact that her beloved had actually gotten married while she was in coma, Aya knew that she did not want to get married to this man. Why? Because he actually used to treat her even worse than her mother while she was still sane. He treated her like, oh, you can't wear this, you can't dress this way, you have to be like this. He even treated her worse than a rabid dog. He was so, just the way her mother micromanaged her life. Now, look at this, at the power of 1,000. He micromanaged every single aspect of her life, the kind of people she talked to, the kind of friends she needed to have. So those were part of the things that that suffocated her, why she did not want to get married to this person. So this was a big problem for her that led her to wanting to jump off the bridge in the first instance. So Aya had this conversation with her mother. She wants to be free, she wants to do the things she loves. Aya told her mother she actually loves cooking. She wants to be in that kind of world whereby she's able to have autonomy of her life, and her mother accepts and apologizes for everything she has put Aya through. Her mother actually has been through a very tough period in her life, carrying around a trauma, and she does not want her daughter to go through it. The same thing is why she has been so like a tiger mother. But something sad also happened within those 3 years while Aya was in coma. Her father had passed away. Her father died. Aya began to even blame herself, thinking maybe her father had died of heartache, knowing that his daughter, has been in coma and he has not been able to do anything to protect her from the evils that she has been subjected to, even her mother's scrutiny. So possibly Aya thinks maybe that is why her father passed away. So Aya was going to lay flowers on her father's burial ground. She took flowers to go and pay her respects to her father. So when she got to the cemetery, she said a prayer and she laid flowers. But just as she was about to leave, just as she was about to turn and go, she just did like this, and she just sighted someone, a stranger. She does not know who this person is, but this person looks like a reflection of her. The person too was also saying a prayer onto a grave. The person looked so sad and so heartbroken, just like she looked. Then it made a simple, small memory flash back in her mind. The moment when she was on a lonely train, traveling somewhere called nowhere. And there was this stranger sitting opposite her in the train that looked like a reflection of herself. So it was like history is repeating itself. So she's looking at this stranger and wondering, you seem familiar, but you are a stranger. I don't know who you are, but you seem familiar. This stranger also looked at her, thinking, this person looks like me. She's looking heartbroken. Possibly a loved one has passed away. There's no great news at the cemetery. Somebody has died. So there and then, both of them decided to walk away. But just as they were about to walk away, something snapped in Adam's mind, and he turned around and said, Aya kind of remembers her. And she was like, Adam? And he was like, yeah, that's my name. And then they shook hands. And the story has ended! Clap for me! It's every story that they used to marry.
How did they get married?
It's every story they used to marry.
After 3 years.
It's every story.
For 3 years. I'm not married. For 3 years.
Let him write.
So at the end of the book, there's a paragraph I added. I was like, she kept wondering, like, did it happen? Did it not happen? A whole coma, did it happen? Was it real? But in the end, she just felt like their stories might not make sense, but she remembers the book she read, and she knows that Indigo loves her, and that was the end of the story. Oh, so guys, I've come to the end of today's story. Did you enjoy it? Did you like it? If you liked and enjoyed it, make sure to give me a like. Comment your thoughts. What did you think? Do you think they were justified from running away from home? Do you think the end even mattered? Did your story end where they shook hands when they met again? Or did it end when they came out from coma? Do you want me to scrap the whole part? I can't scrap it because I've published this book. It's on Amazon. You can just search for it. Indigo Loves You. The links will be in the description box down below. You can also search for my name, okunola.o.zainab, on Amazon, on any platform with, the book title, Indigo Loves You, and it will come up. You can buy it on Amazon. But if you are the first 2 commenters on this video, I will give you for free. I will send it to you. Giveaway. Anyways, thank you guys. Like, comment, subscribe. Bye.
Check it.